Gavin here from Play3r, and today I'm going to show you how to overclock the latest Nvidia cards, so the 7 series and the Titan model from Nvidia's selection. I'm going to show you how to overclock them using GPU Boost 2 with EVGA Precision X. Some people will be wondering why I use EVGA Precision X as opposed to MSI Afterburner, which is the most popular one in my opinion, but I'll get through that in a minute. Now, just to introduce you to what GPU Boost 2.0 actually is, it's Nvidia's way of finding a happy medium between noise, temperature, and overclock performance. Now, obviously, it's a lot more confusing in my opinion, and I prefer the older method, like we had with the GTX 460s, the 480s, the 560s, 580s, etc. I actually found that much easier because once you move the slider, select the overclock you wanted, that was your overclock. With GPU Boost 2.0 it's different because it has different boosts based on how hot the card is and how high you want it to go. Now, to give you an indication, on example, if you're on a reference, so say you had a reference 780, GTX 780 that is, and you wanted to overclock it, but you didn't like noise, you liked it silent operation, obviously you would select, because there's two options, you can either select it to prioritize temperature or prioritize the boost. Now, if you prioritize the temperature at a certain temperature, the one you select it at, it will effectively it'll downclock slightly, so it stays on the threshold of the temperature and it isn't ramping the fans up to an insane amount. Now, obviously, I'm going to show you the difference between them. Well, not actually show you the difference between the noise levels, to show you how to overclock it with the software. So let's open up EVGA Precision X. And here we have the main panel. Now, at the moment, as you can see, the clocks are slightly fluctuating. 666, that's a bit of an evil number, the number of the beast. Anyway, so as you can see, we have the GPU clock there, which it's currently running at. Now, I'm actually using the 780 Ti, the ZOTAC Amp-Edition one to be exact. We have got a full review of that on our website, www.play3r.net. The link's in the description. But yeah, so as you can see here, you have the power target and the temp target. Now, currently, it's prioritized there by the arrow to the power target. So if you want it to boost higher, move the power target along. It of course moves up the temperature because they are linked. You can unlink them, so you can have, say, you don't want the card going over 75 degrees and you want max power target. So if you click apply, it won't do anything because it's not under load yet. But to show you one key feature, the main reason why I use EVGA Precision X as software to overclock my graphics cards is this little thing here. Now, if you go to the voltage selection here and click on it, a little window comes up. Now you can have select GPU if you're in SLI, but I would always just leave it as it is, link them, have them at the same overclock, etc. Over voltage, you can enable over voltage to obviously overclock. It gives you a little warning and then you can boost it up to whatever you want. But one fantastic little thing that I love, and it sort of takes away the uncertainty of knowing what your overclock is, because the way it works, you've got your base clock, which is the clock that it runs at normally when it's under load, and then your boost clock is when it requires the extra power, it'll pump up. So when your graphics card's under intense load, it'll pump up the clock to help you support and make the game run faster, basically. Now, there isn't really a way of telling the way the GPU clock to boost. Some people prefer it to boost when needed. I prefer it to boost all the time. Obviously, if I'm paying £600 for a graphics card, I want maximum performance 100% of the time. Now, when you enable K-Boost, it screws around, it makes your screens go blank, and it cancels everything out and it restarts the driver. Now, obviously, I'm going to stop the video and then restart it and show you what K-Boost is all about. Now that I've enabled K-Boost, to show you the difference, let me close EVGA software and then reopen it. And what you get is the boost. It shows you the boost clock on the actual screen. Now you've got to reset it so that it knows. Just like if you make changes, you've got to restart game. Some graphics changes, etc. Well, so here I've got it prioritized up 100%. If I link them, which I tend to do, I always prioritize for power target, because if you've got a good graphics card cooler, aftermarket cooler on it, or your water cooler, and then obviously the power target's the main focus. Now with K-Boost, it's always putting that load on it, so it is going to run quite high. So if you haven't got a suitably decent aftermarket cooler on your graphics card, then I wouldn't bother with K-Boost. But it is good if you're going to be, if you want to overclock and know your limit, you can always turn K-Boost off, because it will show you the max clocks. Now, to actually overclock the card, we have the GPU clock offset and the memory clock offset. Now it has a plus and negative system. Now, unlike the last one, with the 4 series and 5 series, it actually had, say, like 110 megahertz, 1000 megahertz, 1050 megahertz, and you knew exactly what you were getting. So to show you how to overclock them, you move the slider. Now, I always usually do it in increments of 20, but obviously I have overclocked this card before. So if you say put it up to 20, if you want to overclock the GPU or memory, then you select which overclock you want. So just to be ambitious, I'll put 180 on the memory and 100 and say 120 on the GPU clock, and you click apply. Now obviously the temperature is going to go slightly up, but as you can see, the clock there has gone up to 1230 megahertz. Now that's quite a decent overclock by anyone's standard. You can always put it up if you want, put it down. I've put it up to 1250 currently. Now, different people have different ways of testing their overclocks. Now, there's 2 ways that I do it. You can use a program called Thermark, which basically puts full load on your graphics card. Select the burn-in test, away you go. As you can see, the clocks will fluctuate there. So it's at 1084 currently while it's under load. It's only using what it needs basically. Now, usually if your overclock is stable, it won't crash from Thermark, but the way I like to test it is with a piece of benchmarking software called Unigine Valley. Now that puts an insane amount of load on your card as well, so usually if it passes that benchmark, it will be pretty much 100% stable in games. I don't know a game that's as graphically intensive as the benchmarking software that I use, again Unigine Valley. But yeah, never, and this is the general warning to people, it can mess your drivers up slightly, is when you're benchmarking, or when you're in games, when you're using software like Thermark, etc., is changing the clocks and applying. Always close your game, close your program, etc., then change the clock, because you don't want it. Basically, you don't want your driver to crash. Now, Nvidia's drivers are quite good in the way that they'll recover, but you don't want to corrupt any files, and obviously you don't want to damage your cards, etc. But yeah, sorry I've been rambling on, but yeah, that is pretty much it. That is how you overclock with EVGA Precision software and GPU Boost 2 on Nvidia's 7 series and Titan cards. Any questions, feel free to leave a comment. I'll get back to you. But yeah, thanks a lot guys, and please subscribe, leave a like, join us on our Facebook page. But yeah, thanks guys, and ciao for now.